Hi, my name is Constance Tuiteleleapanga. It is an amazing, amazing position to be in. Being able to be there for families when they are at their lowest point in life, just to support them and help them during that time. It's a phenomenal feeling. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I called for a policy service and she was happy to do the policy service. We were on Zoom, we connected immediately. And one of the things we do ask, so how did you get into these benefits in the first place? And she told me her story and I was just so touched and moved by her story.
So I was a freshman at Tennessee State University. I had a good friend, Joy, and she's still a good friend of mine. And she was like, hey, have you noticed that Archie Carver guy? And I said, that guy that sits behind me in biology? She said, yeah, he's cute. I said, let me check him out. So the next day I went and I looked and I went, yeah, you're right, he's cute. And then of course I went back to her, but you're dating someone else, so you need to let him be with me. Some of my first impressions of him, he was very quiet, and obviously I'm not. But the one thing that impressed me about him was the way he carried himself. How he was as a father, he was amazing.
My dad was, first and foremost, a big goofball.
He had a very infectious laugh. When he found something funny, he would get the case of the giggles.
He definitely was very good at disciplining us, but at the same time being fair and trying to teach us how life works.
So it made sense that people just adored him.
For the most part, they just didn't want to disappoint him. And to this day, I think that's why they're so successful, because they still don't want to disappoint Daddy, even though he's not here. We found out we had just come from a family vacation in Florida. He kept getting an upset stomach. It started hurting him and it just wouldn't go away, so he went into the doctor, and that's when we found out he had terminal colon cancer that had metastasized to his liver. Well, during those years while he was being treated, because he was such a fighter, I honestly did not think it was going to happen to us, because our life was doing nothing but good. But of course, in the back of your mind, you are thinking, what if? What if? And it wasn't until the last 6 months of his life that I knew the what if could be a reality. And that's when it kicked in, and that's the hardest thing you ever want to hear, is your partner's doctor coming in saying, this is it. And I just looked at him and said, excuse me, what did you say? He said, this is it. It's not much more we can do. I said, okay, thank you. And I literally just walked out of the room and found a quiet spot, and I lost it. I lost it. So, yeah, that's hard. I pulled myself together and I asked him, I said, can he go home? He's like, he won't make it. I said, but he wants to go home. And he said, I can't sign off on that. But I have what I call my angels. I have 3 friends. They drove down. I told the doctor, I said, my friends are here, we're going home. He's like, he should make it, hopefully, on the road trip. They made sure we had what we needed, and he did. My friend Leah drove like crazy, and he made it home. He made it to Nashville. He was at Skyline Hospital, one of our hospitals here, and that's where he passed away, but he did make it home. And I remember one of the last things he asked me, he said, where am I? I said, you're home. I remember Archie saying, make sure that policy is up to date and everything. And this is when he was still coherent and everything. I remember I'm like, oh wait, I've got to go and get that piece of paper. I remember them saying about the piece of paper, which is the freedom of choice. And Tiffany went with me to pick out things, that the final choices that you have to make. I remember going into the funeral home.
And she was able to hand it to the funeral director, and they seemed to kind of know what to do from there.
He said, all right, thank you, ma'am, and everything is taken care of. And I just remember looking at my daughter going, that's it? No questions? It actually did what it was supposed to do at a moment that we needed it to work. What I would tell people who would think, oh, I'm too young, it won't happen to me, because when we're younger, we don't think of those things. But my husband didn't make 50. We were in our late 40s. I've had a lot of people go, oh my gosh, you're such a young widow. Yes, I am. And I didn't plan on it to be that. We didn't plan on it to be that way. Our joke was we're going to be on in a rocking chair on the front porch watching our grandkids, but that didn't happen. So if you're on the fence of trying to decide whether you need this policy or not, there should be no decision in that. Just do it, because you don't know when your time is up. And it's just an important thing to have ready just in case.
Our job is very important. It is so important because it's not an if, it's a when. And I was told when I first started, if you care about your people, you don't worry about your pocketbook. And AOAIL makes that very easy for us. So if we're being taken care of and we don't have to worry, how much easier is it for us to do our job and make sure that these families are well protected? Okay? AIL makes that easy for us. Death comes for us all. It's our job to make sure that these families are financially prepared for it.
I think my husband would think right now that that was one of the most important decisions he ever made, and that freedom of choice certificate was everything that it was explained to us for him, because his biggest concern was to make sure his family was taken care of. So yes, I think he would be very happy. He's happy with y'all. He's doing a happy dance with you. A heavenly happy dance.